Yeah, yeah, open them up. Don't worry, we can start a little bit late, it's fine. Yeah, this biscuit, I went and brought them earlier. Yeah. Sorry for being late. Got a biscuit. Well, he forced you. Something like that. Not even nice, but over 3 days, so you hold it by sitting. And I just Claire's like. I don't think I can stream it for some reason. I don't know what's going on there. I didn't ready. Went to McDonald's. Sam had cadets as well. Was that the same thing? No, I did the thing that they did. They say on TV. I went for a McCrispy today. Yeah. I won't message you, so there's my name's up on the few of the things. Is it? Oh, thank you. Peter. Yeah.
Welcome everybody to Kingsnorth Parish Council meeting on the 12th of May. We're starting a little bit later because we've just had our annual meeting. Item on the agenda is to elect the parish council chair.
I'd like to propose yourself, Chair, to take on the mantle again.
I'll second.
You'll second.
I'll third. All those in favour?
Tough luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, elect parish council vice chair.
I'll move, Jeff.
I'll second that. I'll third.
To know those present and receive any apologies. Do we have any apologies?
No, just
No.
Councillor McGeever.
Okay.
Well, you have to have it.
We did say that on the first meeting.
We should only take apologies for members.
Yeah.
So that's we're not required.
Then to receive any declaration of interest, am I assuming that they're the normal ones stand unless there's anything specific on the
Just the
agenda?
ones on the agenda, really.
That's your answer.
I've still got a court case running with Ashford Council.
Okay,
but
so
I don't
that's-
think it's particularly relevant to anything on the
Okay.
agenda.
But you, it's one that you had noted before.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Because it is our annual meeting, we then now move on to review the committee structure. We only actually have one formal standing committee, which is that of the staffing committee or personnel committee. Yeah. It's to appoint councillors to be representative on that committee. At the moment, there's one short as well.
One short, yeah. But we are 2 members down.
Yeah.
And what we did say was that we would get back up to full strength when the full powers to full strength, otherwise it will tilt the balance between members and.
I move we leave status quo, Chairman.
And to wait to be fully complement.
Yeah.
And then revisit that.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Is that everybody again, as we look?
Okay. Do you want to go through that?
Yeah, myself, Councillor Giles and Councillor Hicks.
And then the one vacancy.
Everyone happy?
I'd very much like to stay on, yeah, thank you.
Everybody happy with that current membership? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You got a proposer in a second.
Councillor Cosgrove has proposed, I'll second. Okay, and we've all voted.
Yeah,
because it's all unanimous. Yes, but
There is a we created last year a staff mentor position, which Terry Jones filled admirably before he left. Now it's still a vacancy. Now we have got a job description for it. We don't want
We have, yeah.
which we briefly. It's a role that is a sort of independent role to support staff, to listen to the staff, to just hear things as an independent role. Now it could be, it's better off if it was not a personal committee member. So it's a bit more independent. It could be outside of the parish. If you know anybody has got experience with staff and with people. So we're just letting you know there is that vacancy to fill. Doesn't have to be a parish council member. It could be somebody from a different parish.
It's be advertised.
That's like Mark was going leaving.
there's people in the community that may have mentoring skills.
Yeah.
It is a particular skill set.
Yeah. So could we propose to, do I propose that we go out
Yeah.
with an advertisement for that and the job description attached?
I'll agree with that.
It's voluntary.
Yeah.
But how will we decide who we want? If there's several people? Well, we'll have it out of the interview process. won't
Yeah.
we? Do you want to formally propose?
I propose,
I'll second.
yeah.
Got that? Yeah. Do you have anybody else have a comment before you vote? No? No? Thank you very much. Unanimous, Mary, just really take that one. And again, in the past, I think we've had somebody from an adjoining parish to do it, and vice versa, but it doesn't need to be that way, it just needs to be somebody with experience who can listen to them.
Yeah.
Okay. We then move on to appointments for council representatives at CALC at the moment, who are our representatives?
Myself and John.
Yeah.
Council Program, Council Clark.
Is anybody else interested, or are you both happy to continue?
I'll have to be a reserve if one can't
Yeah.
make it.
I'm happy to continue, yes, I'll might as well do a few years, on just because I've only attended about 2 or 3 meetings.
Okay, get you. Okay, and council Wedgerby will be reserved if either councillor Cosgrove or councillor Clark. can attend. Okay, do you need this to formally propose? I propose, councillor Hicks second, full vote? Yeah, okay. And the next one, Kingsnorth Village Hall Committee, I mean, obviously I'm twin-hatted, but at the moment I'm not your nominee. So if anybody else wanted to be a trustee, representative of the parish council, or are you happy with the fact that you've got a conduit through me on it? It's up to you, really. How do you declare it?
I'll do it 3 years.
Yeah. I can have it
Now,
now.
I can keep that one as it is then. Public comment and observations. Do we have anyone from the public who would speak?
I just wanted to bring to the attention, and I mean, I know you already are, about the planning applications that are going on. I don't know if now it's
Sorry,
on the
I
forum.
don't know, can you just?
Sorry, I'm Tracy Roper, I live down at the bottom of Cheshire.
Thank you, thank you.
We see things are moving forward, and just feel that there are concerns within the village about the drainage systems that are going to be there. If there's any opportunity for further discussion about that with the developers on how that's going to be.
They are all agenda items, Tracy.
Okay, so
It's the latter part of the agenda. So.
yes, I know it's on the agenda. I just wanted to bring that up for consultation. I know certainly councillor Hicks has been and had a look. And you were going to sort of take that a little further, so it would be good if I could have a bit of feedback on that as well.
Actually, if we can separate out the flooding and the garage from the planning.
Yes,
So you were on holiday.
Ah.
Councillor Bartlett did say that he raised it with KCC.
Okay.
And they found that the land was in private ownership and the drainage wasn't
Right.
KCC. And therefore it was something that needs to be picked up with the landowner.
Okay.
So now we know who it is that we need to talk
Okay.
to.
Okay.
So that's definitely something we can pursue.
Also,
Yeah.
when we're talking about the planning application for the medical centre, we need to make sure that the water from those fields does actually go down into their sod systems and doesn't go down.
Yes, so exactly, the two things are connected, but I was aware that you were away when we had the
Yes,
feedback
thank you.
about who was responsible, because before you went away, we thought it was KCC, and then while you were away, they said it was private land.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Right, we then move on to verbal reports from external parties. Do we have anything from KCC councillors? No. Ashford Borough Councillors report. Do we have councillor Hayward?
Yeah, just one quick one, that the rat issue on the moat continues to be an issue, but there is a decrease in rats that are showing now on the banks. Aspire keep on assuring us that they have a full-time pest control in situ or sorting it out. It was a rather large infestation caused by unearthing some brambles on the moat, which, to be fair, I've been asking to be removed for a long time. And so they are still continuing to obviously sort that out. And they have obviously replaced part of the bridge railings there as well now. I am still pretty much hot on the tails of this because I have spoken about. Yeah, I've spoken about Mark and said, "Oh, we got prepared to push it down." There was the email that went to Aspire emailed us back. They're not going to wash the play park down. I don't think that they feel that there's a need to do that. However, I have left a very prominent note with portfolio holder to say that the parish council is looking at this with great concern, as am I, as a local councillor. And if there was any health issues and, you know, Aspire and yourself are coming back and saying that there's no need to do that, then ultimately the buck stops with you guys. And that's going to be your decision that you've made. don't think I was the favourite person at that point, but I have made it quite strong with them, so.
Much, but it is a watching brief, isn't it? But at the moment,
Yeah.
they're looking like they're decreasing.
They are decreasing. I've popped over their last 3 days and I've only seen one, whereas before there was 4 or 5 darting round up there, but there was one. However, that's me going up there early morning. It could be a different story in the afternoon.
We did have an email to this, it was about lunchtime, wasn't it? Gentleman was up there last night, 7:30, about 5 round past and one ran into his foot.
And they're quite big, these things.
Yeah, and that was at 7:30 last night, after taking his son to the park. They were running from the park back towards, I did explain that it's on pest control and it's fire and, yeah, so.
Can I just ask, is the person from Aspire, are they health and safety? At all?
Yes.
So they
Yeah.
are aware and they take on responsibility?
Yeah, that's why they've obviously made sure that there's the pest control on there, but obviously that's why I've gone back and said about health concerns. Parish council's quite concerned about it being the play park, rat droppings, you know, such and such. But as I say, it comes back with, we are doing everything that we can to decrease that within the limits that we have. And so I've left a very strong note with them to say that this is what the parish council is saying. The parish council has also written to them and said exactly the same thing. So if anything was to go wrong, which I really hope doesn't, because we don't want that for anybody, then we have the letter trail to say that we've done our part.
Chair, just while we're talking about the Central Park, I did take one of our tender people round yesterday, and I did notice that one whole side of the moat is now completely full of weeds.
Yeah.
The other side is now starting to grow
Yeah.
reeds, so I would say within the next year,
Mhm.
that photo up there no longer have any water in it.
So I wrote a letter, a strong letter to the portfolio holder recently, in regards to the fishing on the moat. And they have had a meeting. Unfortunately, they had a meeting in a time that was not suitable for myself and Councillor Townsend, even though we had been requesting it since March. And I've had to leave it in their court really, but I can't put anything out until I have an actual definite answer from them what they're going to do. So I have given them a mandate of early July. I said if there's nothing given to me by early July, then I will be putting my letter out to the public to say that at least I've done something.
Very much for that update. We've already had our update of the neighbourhood watch, and is there anything from the police?
Not this time.
So we can then move on to the approval of the minutes of the last meeting, which was the 14th of April.
Proposed, Chair.
You want to pick up, there was one minor amendment,
Amendments,
but
item 17.
huge, no.
What was that, the item 17?
Yeah, you abstained,
I did, yeah.
and I abstained because of the
Yeah.
chair. So
Yeah.
there were 2 abstentions.
Yeah,
But it's got that councillor Cosgrove and I abstained, but it was you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. That would be the only amendment. So with that bar that amendment,
Yeah.
Councillor Ramsey's proposed, we have
About the
Councillor.
extensions, if people want their names.
Yes.
Yeah, put my name on there as an abstain.
No, I mean, if, like, going forward,
Yeah,
if people abstain from votes, do
Yeah.
you want us to record your abstention?
yeah,
If it's, even if it's not relevant to planning, like but this goes to all councillors. If you can just let us know if you are abstaining.
anything to do with planning, then yes, obviously,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can I just, for clarification, there was a confusion because we specifically wanted to name you and councillor Hicks so that it was clear that you were abstaining from planning.
Yes.
But then officers weren't sure whether that meant that all abstentions, we were naming the person, which we wouldn't under normal circumstances do.
Right,
So I think the clarification that you're seeking is we're only naming if the individual wishes to be named.
okay, so
In
for
an
future
extent.
reference, can I always be on abstain for planning, anything to do with planning, please?
Let's send for you, councillor Hicks. Yes, but I don't think I should be on planning for so long. Well, okay, you had to.
Sorry, I was just going to say that councillors need to request a recorded vote normally if they want,
Yes.
but obviously in the planning context,
Yeah,
it makes
that's
sense.
what I'm saying. So I think there was a clarification for staff to know how to do the minutes.
Yeah.
Well, the issue came up under item 6, when it was, councillor myself will put down the name as against. Where we never used
Well, we
the
never
R.
normally name unless you
Right.
specifically request it. to be
So
done.
it's only going to be planning mainly. And if there's something
That's
comes
right.
up, then I'll say.
So unless we ask specifically
Yeah.
for whatever context, it's not named.
Yeah, okay.
Right, with all that, can we vote minutes? Yes.
Yeah.
We then moved to the next item on the agenda, which was grant applications. We have none.
We don't have any.
Correct. There's no update on local government reorganisation that I'm aware of. I think it's
All quite quiet.
still listed
Yeah.
on the ministry list.
Yeah.
It's gone. We still do have a minister, do we?
Yes, he hasn't resigned yet. There have been 3 more resignations of the council.
Okay, then move on to item 9, which is the report that the Pete put forward regarding town council status report. And I think this is in response to councillor Wedgbury's request.
Yeah.
It would take us through it, and it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I mean, it's only to you guys to discuss.
The only thing that I would say is I think the premise of the request, councillor Wedgbury, was that you were advised that there were financial advantages, and from what I read in this report, there aren't any. It's up to members. I believe you've had this conversation before. Councillor Nixon.
I think that the only advantage that we could have is becoming a town council is if we had a stronger voice when we become a unitary. I can see that there'd be problems that we might suddenly become political if we become a town council. I think if we become a town council, we should also incur extra costs, because if we have a mayor, we've got to support a mayor, we've got to change all our rules and things like that. So I think there's definitely would be a cost involved in it. But if there's, in fact, is going to be no advantage in becoming a town council, then there's a little point in us doing it. It really depends, going forward when we become a unitary, how strong the Kent Association of Parish Councils come, I think. And if that can be a strong voice and we can be a strong voice on that, then I think we could stay as we are. But I do think we need to examine the idea.
Okay, councillor Giles and then councillor Ramsey.
I think the extra funding has come as a bit of a, I don't know, it's not as it should be. I mean, I would like to get that in writing actually, just so that we can actually say that actually there is nothing really beneficial in terms of finance coming in. But it's been laid out on the table as if it has. You are right, Councillor Hicks, in terms of any hidden costs, because there will be a lot of costs in terms of how you actually turn a parish council into a town council, of which the recent one I don't think actually has given those costs out to the residents. That concerns me greatly, because as a parish council, one of the biggest things at Kingsnorth is that we are very much a transparent parish council. We don't hide anything to do with costs at all with our residents. So as much as I like the idea of having a mayor, I don't think it suits the demographic we have here. It changes slightly in terms of the town area, because it's unparished. I kind of see the use of that. But for Kingsnorth, I don't see it as being a town council. I prefer the parish council as it is.
Okay, councillor Ramsey.
And I was just going to say that sort of traditionally, I think Tenterden's had perhaps an outsized influence given the size of it in Ashford Borough Councils. But I don't think that's because it's a town council. I just think that's a bit of a due to the nature of the way things are organised and things. And if Kingsnorth wants more of an influence, I think that the thing to do is probably to have a group of 4 or 5 of the largest urban parishes meet together, because you're a bit overwhelmed by some very small parishes, and have that voice for the town that way.
Councillor Cosgrove.
Yeah, when we looked at it last, we did a lot of research. We did some research, food folks and all that sort of thing. what we came to the conclusion was that we didn't really have a centre. We were about 10 years ahead of the game, because if we double in size, then that may be the time to do it. When we're sort of 9,000 houses and 20,000 population, that might be the time to do it. But at the moment, we haven't got a specific centre because we're offset by Park Farm, offset by Roma, offset by other bits and pieces. We're very large, and we've got no real focus. So parish we represent a proper parish at the moment. It may not be so in 10 years' time when we've got Park Farm, when we've got Court Lodge and all the others developments with a much bigger pool. But I do agree with Councillor Ramsey that getting together, the bigger parishes getting together, to also a joint parishes forum, would be would be a stronger voice.
Did you want to come back on that? Because I've got councillor in.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Would we have to know if when we do become a unitary, if we still have the option to become a town council? Because as Councillor Osgrove is saying, if we are very large and we've got big estates, there's no reason why we couldn't have a town hall. And when we try and compare ourselves with Tenton, I think we're misleading ourselves because that is an ancient port, it's a Cinque Port, and it was given the charter in, was it 1556 or something like that?
Yeah, we're very different. We're very different.
Precisely.
Unless they change the law, there's no reason
Can't
why
take that away from parishes.
parishes can change the town council at any time.
Okay, councillor Beaver.
Yes, I was just quite concerned that if Kennington has done this, and I did look on their website and I looked at the mayor's website. It does tend to add another level of bureaucracy, which I thought unitary councils were getting rid of the bureaucracy. And also, if we did it, other areas will do it, and then Ashford would be potentially a whole load of mini town councils all around the centre of Ashford. It doesn't make sense. And actually, I'm sorry, I don't agree with the concept of mayors.
Right, can I bring it to a close? Yeah, so, we note it, okay, but there was no decision to make, it was a, So thank you very much for raising it with us and, for researching it. We then move on to item 10, the business plan. And the report that I've written, I'm hoping it's kind of self-explanatory. I was going through the business plan to update it because it's moved on for a year and certain things need changing and what was an objective, is it still valid and all of that kind of stuff. And I counted several references to stakeholder forums, workshops, all sorts of bits and pieces, none of which we've done for a whole variety of reasons. So my proposal is that we set up a stakeholder forum which covers all of our consultation processes. And we also have some what I call informed residents who can be on an emailing list, and we can use them as almost a focus group and streamline the way we do our consultation so that we get it into what I call a digestible format prior to then going out to the wider community. Because I think sometimes just giving the whole community a complete business plan is just too much. And so unless people want to discuss it, I just wondered if we should go straight to the recommendations.
I'll move you go straight to recommendations and I'll move it.
Do you want to do it individually, Councillor Ramsey?
Sorry, the link that I've been clicking, I don't think I've seen any recommendations.
Okay. Do you want me to read them?
Yeah.
There is a typo in one, so I should read it without the typo.
No, it's
Okay. So the first recommendation is that the parish council manager invites key stakeholders for a workshop in June to familiarise themselves with the business plan and objectives and identify how these can be best achieved in partnership with the community. Okay, that's the first proposal. And I think that's one where we can start developing our links with others as well. Okay. The second recommendation is that our community grants policy is targeted to projects that help to deliver objectives in our business plan. That just means clear. And the third one is that the parish council manager invites residents to participate as a sounding board stroke focus group online to help us shape our wider consultation plans. Okay. Right, shall we take them on block?
Yes, I'll move that.
So councillor Wedgeby's proposed, councillor Exeter.
Sorry, just one quick question. In terms of the community grant ones that we're going to do,
Yeah.
it has to, you're saying it has to be within what our business plan
The
is.
objectives of our business.
So I'm guessing broadly any community groups would come under that anyway. There wouldn't be much that we would say, oh, sorry.
No,
That's right.
That's fine,
but
yeah.
it does make sense that you actually fund
Yeah.
activities that support your plan.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that there wouldn't be an awful lot of things that we would come against in terms of a community group. Right, okay, that's fine.
I think it's like, Jeff, I think to help explanation, it's for national groups who sort of target
All
everybody.
parishes.
Right, yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm also voting.
Okay, so I think that we're all.
Thank you.
Unanimous. Yeah, councillor Wedgeby proposed.
Yeah.
And who seconded it? Yeah. So
Super.
councillor Lee, and we all agree with that. Right, there we go. Then we move on to 11, financial matters, to receive the financial reports. Any comments on the financial reports?
Just to let councillors know, because councillor McGeever asked the question, so I thought I'd let everyone know. We had our, the precepts came in April, so, that's why we're about £132,000 extra, or £100,000 extra. And also interest, obviously, she asked about interest rates. We've got about 200,000 in our, nationwide account, which pays around 3.4%. So,
Did we move the money from Metro or did we keep money?
nice to Metro.
Right, okay, yeah.
Just a question, Pete.
Yep.
Do we pay tax on the interest? Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, shall I go back now? Can we just note financial report? Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Then we move on to the one we have to make a decision on, which is to review invoices and consider authorising payments. We should all have a new version.
Yes, there's a copy on the middle of the
Version on
table.
the table.
There's 10 items.
Oh, and the last item is Gallagher and Phillips, just so that you know you've got the right version.
Yeah.
Do you think you need to raise it for our attention to? No, it's just a list.
Right.
There's nothing extra there. Okay then, do we have a proposal?
Happy to propose.
Councillor Giles, Alexander, councillor Cosgrove, we vote. That's it. We then move on to planning. Get there eventually. Right, first one on planning is to note decisions made. And I just thought it was quite interesting that so many of them are still under consultation, aren't they?
I'd just like to highlight, I did tell Councillor Breeze and Cosgrove in the office this morning that 12 Concord Close has been, they've said they have to have planning permission for that one, which was to do with, I think it was to do with a fence line.
The one that we said, they said was too high or something.
No, this is the one,
That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, so basically it does
Wouldn't fit
the,
the area, would it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
and also the one that we discussed at length last month regarding the Rosary. They've revised their application, it's 1.2 metres high wall now with a hedge behind it.
What was it? It was 2 metres before. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was 2
2
metres. Wall with like an iron gate.
Yeah,
2
so
times
it's been
2.
approved
Oh,
with conditions.
okay. Okay.
But it's lower,
No,
with railings on the top.
Oh.
Yeah.
As a hedge,
And then, well,
which is not an
Hedge
hedge.
items.
Yes.
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
That's for the decisions that have been made, and then we move on to the planning applications. Now, do we need to group all the ones that are still all linked? Would you like just to talk us through the letters? Because the letters
Letters kind of,
link them, don't they?
it's on the next agenda, though, next items,
Okay,
letters.
okay, because I've got written in my notes from this morning, link to letter, which was 0511.
Yes. So basically, we've got NOT 2025 1909, and then 1809, 1810, and then 2380, which are the 3 linked to Kingsnorth Ring. And then last month we had the additional plan application to remove a number of conditions or vary the conditions. which is PA 2026-0519.
Mhm.
And then the final one on the back page is NOT 2026-06-43, which is obviously the land between Motor Court and White Chimneys, which is the doctor's surgery.
And this is the one that residents have all received a letter from
Yep.
Ashford Borough Council this week.
It doesn't mention the doctors.
No, there's no reference to the doctor's surgery, it's just the 15 houses. Councillor Anthony.
Have we were hearing quite a bit from the Kingsnorth medical practice at one point. Have we heard anything about whether they're bringing this forward or still involved, or have they now dropped out and we're not sure whether there is going to be medical practice at all?
Well, we were just having this conversation this morning because the coupling of the medical practice of the 15 houses was quite critical.
Yeah.
And now the medical practice is silent and all we're talking about is the 15 houses.
This is what, so I was at the inquiry, the hearing. And my concern would be that this is going to be like when housing developments promise there's going to be a pub and we're going to get the 15 houses, the site's going to sit there for medical practice for 8 years and then they're going to say, oh,
That's my ward.
yes.
Yes. Yes, so we were literally having that conversation this morning because to me this doesn't sit comfortably because it's gone very, very silent. And I think feedback that we've had from the medical practice is that they didn't want the 15 houses. Well, it's not for them to, it's not their land, is it? But the coupling of the two was critical in getting the planning approval. And therefore, you're quite right, we need to see whether they are inextricably linked and you can't uncouple them. Because it's silent, there's nothing about the medical practice, and yet that is the driver because of the timeline of their current lease.
I think from memory, unfortunately, there's no condition that says the medical practice has to be delivered before you can occupy the last 4 houses or something. So I think there is potentially a loophole in planning.
But when it went to appeal, the inspector actually said that he thought that we should let the houses go because it was more important to have a medical centre. So you're right, they are very much linked together. That's given.
Yeah, I thought that this application actually included a mention of the medical centre and said that that would be put forward separately.
It is, it's on there. Yeah.
It is.
It is on there.
Yeah.
But we need to be mindful that they don't get
Lost. But the detail is not, it's not about the medical practice.
We want to have a condition on this application that no houses are occupied until the application, the medical centre is built, so we put that as our comments.
Yeah, but I think you said that wasn't, the inspector didn't say that.
Because it actually doesn't say it, we could put that as our comments.
Oh,
I think it's not in the permission that's already been given, but I think perhaps write to Councillor Harman, who's the portfolio holder, and say we're concerned that we weren't not going to get the medical practice, and that was the underlying factor in this being granted. Could you discuss with officers?
yeah,
So I think in our comments, we can get away with it in our comments, saying, in our comments, we will request a condition that none of these houses are occupied until the medical centre is built.
the condition.
As a condition.
You could ask. Yeah.
You know, and it puts it on record everywhere that we've done it.
Yeah.
Also, you might want to clarify the timeline between the houses and also the medical centre being built, because if it's coming on separately, is there a different timeline for when they're proposing the medical centre is extended?
It's not extended because it's separate sites.
Like, yeah, I know what you mean, but they're building the bigger one, aren't they?
Yeah.
You see,
Yes.
the driver was that the lease was coming to an end in 6 years or something, but it's getting less and less time.
Yeah,
I mean,
right, the pharmacy as well, and the pharmacy as well then.
Yeah, have some said pharmacies on board now, don't they?
so you're getting a bit close to that lease ending and this one, and they're not even building anything. Okay, so we've got a proposal here, is that Councillor Wedgwood's proposal is that there should be a condition that the 15 houses cannot be occupied until such time as the medical centre is constructed or operational, or because it may never happen. Yeah.
Councillor Wedgbury, would you be willing to agree to writing a letter to Councillor Harman as well, just about raising it directly with the portfolio holder.
Yeah, and the letter
Yes,
of,
and a letter. That's, so there'll be a formal comment on the comments page,
Yeah.
but we also write to
yeah.
portfolio.
Yeah.
So literally to who?
Can I ask that we refer back to the planning inspector's report and actually directly quote from that about what the planning inspector said, so that we're not just.
In the letter, going to letter, yeah.
Yes.
So
you're
that
quoting,
or such and such
In the letter.
in the letter.
Okay.
Um,
And the
to it.
other bit is that I'm not sure, I mean, maybe I've got it wrong, but there's been activity in the field where they've constructed a ditch and they put green sort of netting all the way around in preparation for some
Relocating
relocating,
reptiles.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
But did they do that before they had permission to do it?
They just need permission.
Well,
Don't need
I don't know.
So
I'm
there's-
just asking,
there's-
they do.
Probably an ecology condition in the original permission.
Right.
They may have. I mean, in principle, for putting the bits in, you don't need permission, but the ecology condition, depending on how it's worded, may have said you need to get approval before you start doing the ecology
Yeah.
works, but it'll depend on.
I see it quite a lot in there in planning.
You actually do it to be able to write the ecology report to support the planning.
Okay, it's just that for me, and this is a theme that I would like us to consider for several of these applications, is that when residents suddenly see people in the field digging right up to their fences, banging their fences, doing ditches and all sorts of things, and nobody said anybody was coming, nobody explained what they were doing.
Sorry, could I just comment? I have spoken to the people who are in the field, asking them what they've been finding, thinking that they're doing a study. And he said, oh, I'm not writing any reports, we're reptile clearing in preparation for building. So they're not doing an ecologies report.
Do you see what I mean? It's called reptile clearing.
It's purely relocating.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
No birds and geckos.
Yeah, but for me though, it's a bit like common courtesy. That you tell people that you're going to rock up and possibly bang into their fence and things like that. That's what
Yeah, the important thing, I pick up your point, if it's not ecology for reporting for supporting planning, it's pre-site strip demolition.
It's,
So it's actually moved on to the actual start construction phase.
I had assumed that's what they're
That's what
doing.
they said.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't clear it for report, you only count with report. Clearing says topsoil strip, keep going.
Another neighbour has said that they have been told that people want.
That's right.
So when you're putting in your initial application, normally you put down, it's like roofing felt tiles and it's hot, so the reptiles will lay under there and flat under, catching them and things. And also then clearance is when you're going to start work and they'll have a receiving area where they're moving them to. So it's the second one that they're doing now.
Yeah.
And the only other thing that might be relevant here is if they're using the thicker walled fencing, it can affect surface water flows.
It's a green, it's a bright
bright
green.
green.
Yeah, it's normal stuff.
And it's mounted up round the sides so that nothing can get under it, I suppose, yeah. So.
Anyhow, I did suggest that I would use my own contacts to find somebody within Jarvis Homes to see if they would have a meeting with residents and come up with some communication timeline that is just to say, this is what we're doing, this is when we expect to do it. Because I just think when people just rock up behind your garden, it makes you worry, doesn't it? You don't know who these people are. And the other bit that I was a bit concerned about is, did we ever resolve whether the entrance into that field, the paddock, from Pound Court is no longer relevant? Because that's a shared drive through the granaries drive into the paddock.
So my reflection is that it was raised in front of the inspector, but I can't remember what the report, the decision particularly said about it.
Because you can see that we don't want construction traffic and things coming through Pound Court and going through somebody's drive and all sorts of things like that.
From memory, I think it was a private issue, and I don't think it really made it into the decision. But I'm
It just-
guessing a little bit.
It's things that need tidying up, isn't it? Because,
You got checking.
yeah,
Can I just say as well, from a safety point of view, you know, there were the break-ins at Ashford Road, and they got in the gates further down. They just drove in round the back of the fields. So you want to make sure for the residents on Church Hill that nobody's going to be getting in easily to drive in round the back of the houses, because that's how they're getting in. And then they cut their wire cuts.
the wires out.
Yeah, they're wire cutting, so it's a safety point of view.
That's a bit, I wonder if it's worthwhile asking the planning department, in particular Simon Cole, what the status is of that particular access. Because I think, remember that it was going to be a fields access when Joyce Harrison was there. So if it's a fields access and it's existing, it's got a certain status, hasn't it? But not to have all this heavy mechanical stuff going through. So I think maybe we would clarify that before we make any decision.
and I think also when we were looking at the status behind your property, some of those routes were to get access to the field, and nobody has changed those rights of way, if you like. That might be the incorrect language, but there were certain access routes through the barn, through the granary, through your property that were left over from when it was access to the field. It's just tidying all those things up, really. So,
It might be able to go straight to Ray Tomlinson. She's still in post, because I believe she was the officer in front of the inspector.
Yeah.
And maybe quicker than Simon, and she's normally very responsive. So.
okay, it's just tight. If it's moved to phase 2,
Yeah.
we need answers to all these issues, really.
So
What's next?
I have another question around this sort of particular application as well. When you look back to the, I think it's like a lease thing that the builders have signed with KCC about everything that's going to, I don't know what you call it. But it looks very much to me like some sort of lease or agreement that the planning has been put in place. So in that document, at the very tail end of it is a sort of scale drawing of how the plot is going to be. Now, when you look on the planning website now, the layout of the 15 houses is different to the original layout on that. And I don't know how that works. Can they just change the 15 houses? It's gone from being, in particular along that back ridge line, it's gone from being 2 lots of semi-detached houses to now being 1 big detached house and 3 terrace houses. So I don't quite see how that
Was the original plans just a draft outline of what it was? So it was granted with an outline plan.
Yes.
If the inspector say about affordable housing, then the 3 terrace houses potentially could be affordable housing.
more affordable.
But it's about heights and things like that.
Yeah.
But, Chair, this application reserved best absolutely free for repairs. So that's what we can comment on, but
Yes.
So really where the lay of the land is, where the houses are actually going to be built, it's all very well looking on a flat bit of paper, but it's actually on the ridge of the brow of the hill. So the houses are going to be considerably higher than those who are on Churchill at that level. So it will sort of along that line.
So it will change
Be
the,
very
it will change
noticeable,
the
they'll be
outline of
very
the
noticeable,
sky, yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite, I would say it's quite rare to grant an application like that on a draft drawing. Normally you would have your finalised ones, wouldn't you, on something like that? So you actually knew in terms of like roads and spacing and car parking, you would have everything pretty much there to say this is what you are wanting to approve. So it's quite,
The reserve matters does say appearance, landscaping, layouts, that's the word,
Yeah.
layout, and scale of residential element comprising. So
That's will be reserved to officers.
I think that's what the application's asking for, it's approval of the appearance, landscaping,
Yeah.
the last 2, layout and scale of residential element comprising of 15 dwellings. So this is getting approval for the landscaping, layout and the scale.
Right, so our comments are all quite relevant at the moment.
Yeah, so when the planning committee's got an outline permission and this one was with access, they're determining access only. All they need to be satisfied is that there's an adequate solution for putting 15 houses on that site. They're not looking at the exact plan that's in front of them, it's just an
So
illustration.
now we're into the detail.
Now we are.
Right, so how do we want to play this one? Because this is really quite important, isn't it? Do we want another special meeting into which we invite residents?
I think that's right. It's for the benefit. Because the other, making me think you could, argue that the scale and height is too high, that they could be reduced to bungalows.
Which we need.
What we do need bungalows.
We need bungalows.
Because the height, the effect, the impact it has on existing residents, but because of the new, they're too high, they should be bungalows.
If I remember correctly, looking at that plan, wasn't there a sub system right at the top of that hill? In which case, does water run that hill?
If an architect do.
But also, and I think this is where residents in Churchill are
Is this
seeking a
Kingsnorth?
comfort, is there's supposed to be a green space
Yeah.
between the properties and the back of the properties in Churchill,
Yes.
which was supposed to be an open space. And I think what the residents in Churchill are saying, please define what the green space is. Is it for dog walking? Is it for nobody going in there? It's just a buffer zone. What is the design of that open space? Because we've had in the past, the pond that belonged in one person's garden being classed as open space for the properties in Myrtle Court, for example, when you can't have joint ownership of a pond because the water doesn't behave itself like that. So it's these sorts of details that we need clarification on. So I'm going to propose that we have a special meeting on this particular topic because it's the detail now, and the devil is in the detail here. And we invite residents along, and possibly we invite planning officer to a meeting, see if they can help.
Tracy's got the idea about bungalows and push that round all the neighbours.
Okay. But when they did build Myrtle Court, residents got together, and I was one of them, and we paid for a planning consultant, and we got them to change the height of the property that were built immediately on the boundary. So it's not that it can't be done, but we need to actually say that this is an issue, of course, otherwise it will. Okay, so I think the proposal is that we hold a special meeting. Okay, you have a seconder?
Second, yeah.
Vote?
So when would you like the meeting to be held?
Yes. Yeah,
When's it due?
Hey, when did it come out? It came out,
I think it's around about the 28th or 29th of May, I think.
June.
Yeah, the consultation deadline's the 4th of June, but I mean, I've never really seen Ashford take a decision on a site of over 10 houses in less than 3 months, so I think we're fairly safe. Till July.
We also asked for it to be called in planning committee.
It will be called in, 10 more.
It's not delegated, is it?
No,
What was it? Some of them
I
are
think they
delegated.
changed it. I don't think it.
It's
I
not
think it will be delegated now. It is delegated.
delegated.
So yeah, you would need Ray to call it in. It's his
I
one,
think I
isn't
don't
it?
have to do that formally. I can't just say, by the way.
Sorry, but remember what Pete said about talking in that she can't pick up all the voices.
in councillor McKeever's report, if you read it, he did say that he had been talking to planners about the medical practice side. That was one of his things he put in his report.
Okay. Councillor Hickson, I can't think.
Sorry. I was going to say that I think your idea of having a public meeting is extremely good, and we should include the people all the way down Churchill as well, including, is it the two chimneys, the white chimneys then as well?
You mean Mill Hill?
Yes,
Yes, it's very much round that.
Yes.
And
But I don't see why we can't ask for the planning officer to come here with the plans. I think that would be very appropriate. And I mean, there's no reason why they can't do that.
You can ask, that's the best.
Yes.
Councillor Astley.
Could I suggest that the parish council prints out a little leaflet to go into the nearest neighbours about the consultation?
Once we know the date.
Yeah.
That's beginning. Was there anything you wanted to say, or you? No.
No.
Right, so we know what we're doing on that one. Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's
So you
very
can just have a day, I mean, ideally after the country fair would be good.
Yeah.
I mean, we've only got next week in this country fair then.
And I'm away until the 29th of May, so.
Okay.
Right, okay. Anything else on planning that's coming afterwards, or? Because often there's a few that have been nipped in.
I feel, yeah, I'm concerned about, the one ending, well, it's Pound Lane, Magpie Hall Road, not Bond Lane, is 5019. It says to remove the, removal of the wastewater treatment works.
Yes.
Which seems a big, turnaround really, in that they are necessary, and yet they're trying to say, oh, they're not necessary with, they want to do an environmental impact statement, assessment again, which hopefully we should press for. Shall I just carry on for a little while? SST Connect, who might be responsible for a wastewater treatment plant, say ST Connect is not currently party to any legal agreement or formal appointment relating to the foul sewage infrastructure requirement to implement the permitted discharge solution for the site. So it seems as if, you know, it's all in, there isn't really a strategy, or I'd like to know what the strategy is.
My advice is not to say anything, because all you do is flag it up. Therefore, you encourage them to put it back in.
They're able to buy credits.
I was about to say,
Hold on, credits.
Yeah, but I can't see how buying credits actually, what actually is going to happen to the valve?
The only reason they had to put this treatment plants in was because of what the environment agency in Natural England was saying about the stock market things. Now that the Natural England can actually sell the credits, there isn't a problem.
Right.
so it's no longer needed because they've found other solution to
Yeah.
Budmarsh.
Yes.
Okay, it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's a bit like buying energy credits for
Yes.
somebody else has produced in low energy and you put it on your bill.
So basically, they're going to allow the connection to the
yes.
main sewer.
Main sewer.
like that, and-
Yeah. Like they should have done in the first place,
Yes.
but now they've found a way of mitigating what's going to be up in the stock market. Is that
Yeah.
allegedly?
Just say on that one, there seems to be quite a number of variations of conditions, which I must admit I haven't been through every single one of them, but it does include things like phasing, and it's just really going, maybe we need to go into a bit more detail and just check what they're doing. We don't really want another Chilmington Green.
Yeah, I found that
Do
whole
we?
paragraph
Because it
incredibly
seems,
dense.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot, you know, why are they changing the noise levels? There's an awful lot of change going on there. I don't know if that is normal. I would ask councillor Ansley if that is normal for that amount of change.
Sometimes what happens is that when they're trying to get a site started, they'll vary the conditions so that the rules are slightly different for a certain phase, because often they're trying to push a deadline to get it started by a certain date, and then the later phases they're sort of partial discharges and things, but there is quite a lot there.
There is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt as a paragraph, it was incredibly dense and contained so much information that I couldn't actually follow it.
Well-
So is that one where I genuinely believe this is one where we need help from our planning officers to explain what this means.
Who's the plan officer for that one?
It's likely to be Faye again.
Medical practice,
No, not
No.
519.
So
051.
Oh, that'll be fine, yeah.
it's Faye again,
Yeah, 100%.
so she will be, hopefully she'll be able to advise a bit more on the Faye. I've not actually seen something like that before, to be fair,
It's just
on phasing.
such a dense
Yeah.
paragraph, isn't it, to get your head round? Is that something we should have on the same night?
I
Was that
was
asking
going
for-
to suggest that you potentially have a subgroup, councillors that go through this,
We've got that somewhere, haven't we?
just go through this application on their own. 'Cause
Yes,
some
but
of
there's
this,
just too much, isn't there?
yeah, some of this might not be, well, it is relevant to residents, but it's probably better that councillors get their head around it first before speaking to residents.
Okay, yeah, we need to guess what that paragraph means. Okay, who would like to be involved in a small
John Jones.
one?
Yeah,
I can't be involved in that, unfortunately.
Okay,
John James, so
are you happy
Yeah.
to
Do
do
the
that?
best one.
Yeah.
We'll break it down into the bite-sized chunks so that we can then have an understanding of what it means. Okay, we got that.
Not very long words.
Need anything else? No. Okay. Moving on then, there's nothing else on the planning side. What I want to draw your attention to is that at the last meeting, we've written to the planning, member of the planning committee and copied into officers, and we've had a reply from Simon Cole, which is, copy of which is on the table. And he's addressed our issues about the cumulative impact. The one thing that he hasn't mentioned at all is the South Ashford Garden communities. It's not mentioned even in a passing reference. And then subsequently, we also agreed that we would do a joint parish letter on the South Ashford Garden communities, and the idea that we needed a workshop to revisit it and to make sure that it's still on the agenda. And that letter went out on Friday.
Thursday, Friday, yeah.
Friday. So, picking up Councillor Ansley's point, I think we still need to be pushing the idea of parishes working together. And that we're not going to let South Ashford Garden communities sort of just wither on the vine. When it was the only thing that we had that was created a strategic framework for us that provided some some cohesion really to all the proposed developments. So I just wanted members to know that we had done both of those actions, and Simon Cole's response did not make reference to it, so I think it probably needs us to formally respond to his letter as well as the joint one and say, thank you very much for your letter, but you haven't answered that question about we wanting a workshop on South Ashford Garden community.
Yeah, would it not suit for you, the vice chair, to write to the other parish councils that we are quite close with and see whether there's some sort of subcommittee or something can be
We've done that.
You've done that, right?
Yeah, and we've done a joint letter, right, I drafted it and they've all signed it off. And in there, one of the actions is that we want a workshop, a
Brilliant.
joint
Okay,
workshop.
missed that, sorry.
Yeah,
There was something else on Simon Cole's letter about creating rat runs, which was a bit of a laugh really, because that's exactly what they're going to do by closing roads and going through the new estates to create new access roads. Well, if they are going to put make that a through road, it's got to have through road sort of destination road sort of status rather than an access road leading to an estate which isn't really going anywhere, should be one width, but sort of a destination sort of road to a through road is meant to be wider than access roads. I think it's, should be able to get three lorries or two lorries and a parked car at least. So if there are going to be traffic diverted through these new estates, the main access road should be wide enough for two lorries and a car, and should also be. We should also just make sure that happens.
Chair, John, the primary design is fully documented and stipulated for the type of road which incorporates widths, maybe ODI, junction sizes, all the rest of it. And the road sizes, you're right, you go up to about 5 metres per rural single cat road. Your normal road's about 7.3 metres, 3 metres, and when they go into bigger, more district roads, they go a little bit wider. They go to sort of 2 lanes, and they have the 800 mil of birch, which is the white line in the gutter.
Yeah.
Well, so they do get bigger, and they are dependent. So that's all fairly well laid down. You can't sort of pick and choose because they will want to do the framework and I went wider.
Yeah, it all depends
It's got to have the refuse vehicles, the emergency vehicles,
2 exit points.
yeah,
You know,
all
on
that,
certain
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's the strategic that we're looking at. And when you think about it and you think strategically, you think forward and you look at what will it be like in 10, 20 years time with another 6,000-7,000 houses, it will be a completely different layout to what we've got now. And some of those little roads you're talking about now will be internal, bigger distributor roads. So that's what they're thinking about when they design the roads. And it is laid down in a lot of government road notes.
Like Park Farm, got 3 exit points, and they're all, you just drive around Park Farm, you'll see exactly what's going on.
Councillor Giles and Councillor Ramsey.
Yeah, so one of the issues that we need to be really careful with in terms of like the newer housing estates that's cropping up is especially on sort of like the old part of Bridgefield, which is still Park Farm South, and the Orchid Court area, they were all MOD houses originally bought for MOD, Gurkha soldiers as well, families that were living in there. Now, when they bought the houses, there was a whole thing on turning the back gardens into parking bays. And of course, nobody's turned their gardens into a parking bay. So now everyone's double parking on the pavements, and it's consistently an issue for road sizes like you keep bringing up. And this is going to be another thing that we need to be looking at when we get planning application through on houses, is that anything to do with turning a back garden into another space for parking is really scrutinised, because we need to look at the areas that we've got already and how it's not working, because people are not turning their gardens into that, and how it's causing double parking on pavements. It's an absolute nightmare, to be honest with you. And just like Councillor Wedgbury is saying, the consideration that we've got a bridge that no one should be accessing but still are accessing, the speeding and the traffic on that bridge going over to Bridgefield from Park Farm is a nightmare. When Church Hill is closed off because of certain works, they are bypassing that and going straight over the bridge, and so we've had noise issues, we've had pollution issues, we've had people driving at full speed over that bridge. We've had near accidents with other buses and all sorts of things going on. It's an ongoing issue, and so having anything like that in other areas is only going to impact more on Park Farm and Bridgefield and Finbury and all the other bits around us as well.
And so the road specifications, depending on the number of houses, are given in KCC's designing the movement guide, and I've just emailed it round to councillors so they can have a look through in the week.
Okay, I've just highlighted for my reference, and I just ask to draw your attention to it. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph down in Simon Cole's letter, which is, I understand the parish council's concern. I also relate to the scenario of development occurring on multiple sites simultaneously and the implication this will have on highway safety. Although in reality it tends to be unrealistic in practice. But the fact that he said that we can have a conversation about that, I think that's the one paragraph that we should come back on. Because he's acknowledged that there's an issue, but he's saying that in practice that hardly ever happens. Well, we don't. I think because we've got planning applications that have been delayed, that are now bumping into current planning applications, this is not a normal flow of development that would have, if those applications had been built out when they were supposed to be built out, his answer is right. but they're not. They're all going to be happening at the same time. And I think we need to come back to him on that one. And I think that's where we need that workshop with residents about.
To go back to John's point about the different roads, fair enough, KCC have got certain regulations about the width of the roads, like Jeff has just said. But there's also the fact that ages ago with Park Farmers built, the KCC only took over the major roads, and some of the minor roads are actually private things. So I think you've got to be very careful when you talk about these little cul-de-sacs and double parking, because if they've got bricks, then very often that is the responsibility of a management company and has nothing to do with public ownership. So I think we need to make absolutely certain we've got proper parking spaces, despite the fact that we're all going to have buses and trains going everywhere. The reality of life is that everybody has a car or two or three.
Can I just raise one important point? When I raised Castle R, looking at Castle of suggestion, when they have the non-material amendments where they reduce the number of parking bays, the non-material amendment is not consulted on, so the parking bays went down. I also had a councillor from another parish through Cal raise an issue that on new estates, sign written vans were not allowed, and so they approached the developer who sold them a public parking space. And therefore went down even further. And I did mention this to Councillor Harman I saw the other day. She was surprised and she said, "Oh, that's not allowed." I said, "Well, that's what's happening, because that's what the demand is."
Yeah.
And she also said, so I was offering topsoil when she passed. So she also said that KCC do look at joint applications in the area, look at all the ones that have gone before and the ones that they knew were coming up. So that's one of our questions to them, was they should take applications together. And that's what she confirmed that they actually do.
Do they give any feedback on that?
Yeah, that's where her other frustration was.
Another interesting thing, building costs of new developments have risen by 35% in the last 3 years. They're not going to get built because they just developers can't afford to build them.
And the big issue with that is that it blights everybody else. You can't solve your properties.
Okay, well, on to that depressing note, sorry.
Sorry, Chair. I just wanted to add you on your fifth paragraph. I do agree with you. We do need to pick him up on that one, because even if they start slightly after 1 year, then the next year they start, and then the year after that, Ashford Road will be a continuous state of traffic lights. I mean, we all remember trying to get into town when they were doing the Ashford International Station. It's just going to be a real. It's going to hold everything up. It's going to hold traffic up.
Jesse got someone like Bromley and look at what people will be like in 20 years' time.
Well, I used to live in London, so
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
I predict that Ashford Road is going to be blocked for about 6 months of the year.
probably
Because
permanently.
there's other piping or drainage work that needs to go in as well, and that
It might not be like, it could be a lake by then. So
so we're moving on to item 13, correspondence and written reports from external parties. Obviously, we've picked up the correspondence that we've had with Simon Cole, and I've advised you that we've written the joint parish letter. Have we received any other correspondence or correspondence? No. Okay, so we then move on to the parish staff.
Oh no, we've got to consider the next that's going to go for the planning.
All right, yes. It's on the table.
Yeah. So this is the follow-up letter.
With the one little square on the bottom.
Is this one 6th of May? No.
Yeah, that was when I printed it off.
Yeah, 6th of May.
Basically, it's just following up our email, our letter from March. To highlight
You did that.
the 2 applications that have come in since.
Yes, so it's just reinforcing, not stopping. But what I forgot to say that Simon Cole did say that he would take our letter as a comment and add it to the plan.
Yeah, I'll add that to my list. Yeah, I'll reply to him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him about the South African community,
Yeah,
ask for letters to be published on development plan applications,
yeah,
and yeah, I need to ask you guys if you want me to acknowledge or about that bit that he said about, yeah.
yeah. We do want a plan. We do want to be involved with residents in the phase plan of all the access routes onto the Ashford.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair, we've got quite a lot of correspondence going to planning committee. So we're trying to get information or a meeting with Faye. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We've got Linda Harman about the loss of whether the medical centre is actually going to appear or not. And then for Simon, so we got this and also a paragraph 5 letter, or are you rolling that into this?
I think we could roll that into, I think that's what
So
we've
you're
done.
going to update this?
Yes.
And so Simon's just got one more letter, is that
Do you
right?
think we could do that? Or not?
Yeah.
Is it worth not consolidating, make sure we're not talking of different things and giving ourselves?
I think give them loads.
Sure.
It's the time and date as well. It's having the time and date in the letter, like the different things. It's security for the parish council in terms of correspondence.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think in answer to your question, we have a separate letter to Simon in response to his letter to us.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean to say we can't repeat it again. But I think we formally reply to his letter to us and then pick up those other issues. Is that it? Is that it? Yeah.
When everyone happy for me to send that letter?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm saying,
Okay. Right, and then can we move on to parish council staff?
Yeah. I'll make this very quick because we were speeding through it, but that's fine. From my side of things, just since the report, just give you a little bit of update. All of our staff have we had a really useful presentation from Omni Group about our pensions and our medical plan, which we've now taken up. All the employees, we've all taken up salary sacrifice. So, but obviously we've put a bit more into our pensions, which is good. But it was really beneficial, and all the staff felt quite, it was really useful, and a part of the package, we all get a bit of financial advice as well, included, which is good. So we get some individual one-to-ones with the group to talk about our own personal finances and making sure that we're doing the right thing, which is quite good. But all the members of staff were really pleased with it. So I've passed on the thanks from the staff and myself for that. Also, just to give you an update on some staffing changes, Chris and Fraser are both reducing their hours to 15 hours a week each, but they'll be covering the 4 days across the week. So that's coming into place from next Monday. And there's one other thing I was going to bring up, which is about the pit renovations. So basically, on Friday, Andy met with me and the team that do the pitch renovations. They were really pleased with the condition of the pitches, and they put together a quote for the renovations to happen in June, which is 6,600. Obviously, it was too late to bring to this meeting. Are you happy for me to book it in for early June? Budget we've got for the pitch renovations is 9,900. So
I'm happy to propose.
quite happy. I mean, if you're happy to book it in,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Timing's important.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Councillor Giles proposed, Councillor Hicks seconds. Vote.
And it will be spaced out across the year, so it's not all at once. So the bird training will be
Yes.
later on. Yeah.
Councillor Lansley, you're not
Abstain.
You're abstaining.
Yeah.
Councillor McGee.
I'm abstaining.
Okay.
I don't know.
And that's it. So yeah, everyone was very happy with this happens. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And then we move to events and community engagement update. Anything there?
It's just to know, really, just that we see a lot of work in the country fair, which is coming around very, very, very quickly.
So,
Oh, yes, Parish Council stall at the country fair. If the councillors are able to assist, the event runs from 12 to 5. Last year, councillors held the Parish Council stall at the event, and it went really well, because it was a really good time to engage with attendees and residents, and answered a lot of questions. So yeah, we'd really like it, we could do the same this year and have councillors run it.
Can I do 2 till 3, please? Because I think Harris, they're doing a thing from 12, aren't they? Oh,
Yes,
so I'll
yeah,
go
there's
for
that stuff.
Yeah, so I'll do the 2 till 3 slot.
I have to give my apologies, I will be on a cruise.
It's related to that. So it's like,
I'm going to be on another, I'm on the Oliver Sleeper stall.
Oh, okay.
But I'll probably be able to get away for an hour, but I
I can do
won't know
that.
when.
Oh, thanks.
I won't know when, so. Yeah, so rather than agree,
What?
rather than agree,
Just never now remind me.
rather than agree the vote now,
Yep.
you put the call out, if you can reply to,
Yeah.
and also if you could let us know as soon as possible what you want to do, because last year was quite, I know it's getting last minute already now, but we need to know what we need, if you need anything printed, because we've
It's
got
the
a lot.
balls, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That balled up.
Yeah, that was a good idea, and just posted stickers that people can put concerns of, and then stick it on the area that they're concerned about. So that was good. I'll do an R, but I'm involved in Ashford Astronomical Society, so I've got to get them set up to begin with. But
do we, sorry, Pete, do we have a feedback thing on our website?
No, we could do.
So can we do like a QR code? People can QR code and give feedback while they're out and about, rather than standing at the stall. If they want to give some feedback on something, or
Yeah.
comment box
Yeah.
through QR code.
Yeah.
right,
it's a good
so
way of recording it, yeah.
thank you very much for that. So we then move on to the parish action sheet. And there have been some actions that have progressed, which is the joint letter, and we've done the investigation of the kind of the town councils, we tick those 2 off. And you've had an update from councillor Giles regarding the rodents.
And we've also, the top one.
Yeah.
That's the one, that's the letters.
Yeah, so basically we've done everything on the action sheet.
Yeah.
Would, sort of writing a letter to the other the sort of 4 or 5 largest councils in the town, floating the idea of a quarterly meeting or something about be an idea.
Wider than the South Ashford Garden one.
And I'm guessing it's Kingsnorth, Great Chart, Swan, Kennington. Mercer maybe. Yeah, that would be the largest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or joint parishes group.
Yeah, just
The urban ones, really.
just to
Yeah.
get key themes from that are pressing for all of us, so that we have a stronger voice, isn't it?
Well, and get familiar with each other to start with, I guess, before anything major happens.
That's right. Okay, that's indeed.
Can we, should we add in the community assets?
Well, that's
No,
already.
agenda item.
I think the agenda would be on the action sheet.
Because the tender comes back, which means this will.
So it'll be on the agenda for next meeting, yeah, and then it becomes an action once we've approved it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, okay, right, nothing else that we had, we picked the rest of the stuff up within the agenda we were going through. So I'd like to close the meeting, thank you very much, and our next meeting is on the 9th of June.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah.